Hello you guys, it's time for another video. Today I thought we're gonna talk about all the petite knit sweater patterns I have knitted since April, because that was the last time I've really updated you on my sweater projects. So I thought it's time to do a little catch up in that sense. Maybe we can start with what I'm wearing, because that's always very interesting to me. I'm wearing the marble sweater by Petite Knit, and as you can see, this is the first sweater I have knitted ever. And this is by far not perfect. As you can see, there's a loose stitch right here. I have a hole here. The yarn is pilling. It's not the best, and I don't wear it that often because I'm not really happy with it. Also, I bound it off very tightly, so yeah, she would need some love, and I should be doing that because it was still a lot of work. Anyway, that's the sweater I am wearing today. It's made out of 4 strands of drops. Probably drops, Nepal drops, Flora, Kid Silk. I don't know. I have not written it down anywhere. But this one was the very first one I've made, so I can't get rid of it, you know. I have 5 sweaters that I've made since April. I have 4 of them here. One of them was for my mom. So let's start. So the first one that I finished since April, or since March, or whenever, is the festival sweater by Petite Knit. I have it right here. I made this in Drops Daisy, in a light blue and a dark blue, on 4mm needles in the size XL. Most of the time I'm doing a size XL just to preference. I only switch up the sizes if I'm changing the needle size in a significant manner. Whoa, that sounded so professional. Who am I? No, but you get what I mean. So when I switch it up to like a 5 or 5.5mm needle instead of a 4, then I'm thinking about sizing up or not, depending on the yarn I use. But yeah, you get the vibe. So yeah, I knitted this I started it when I was in Estonia, and it was like a knit along with my Eastie friend. She did that in pink and red, and I did that in, as I said, light blue and blue. I love the way the yarn looks, and I love the way the color looks, and I love the way it looks with the bubbles. The only downside is I'm not wearing it. I'm not wearing it at all because I don't like how a circular yoke looks on my body. So that's why I'm not wearing it. And it's sad. Maybe I should. Maybe I should just get over myself. But I always say that, and then I put it on and I'm like, not the biggest fan. So I'm not sure what to do with that either. It's too short for my mom because my mom is taller than me. But yeah, I would say it was fairly difficult. It was fine, but it's like once you get the hang of the bubble stitch, it's fine. It's still annoying, but it's fine. And if you don't mind having like a more complicated stitch whilst working, you should be good. I think personally, I think it was super annoying because the stitch itself is not super easy. Like, you know, when you sometimes have a slip stitch round, or I don't know, you do like different stitches. That's fine, but the bubble stitch was really getting to me. It looks great. It's a cool addition to the sweater, and I think she really nailed her vision of the sweater, but it's not for me. So would I do it again? No. Would I recommend it? Depends. If this is your 100% your style. And if you would say, yes, I love a circular yoke, do it. If you want to test out a circular yoke, don't do it. There are different patterns where you can do that. Personally, I wouldn't do it again. The next sweater we have is the marble sweater by petiteknit, but for my mom. So I made her the marble sweater as a present in multiple pinks. I used drops Nepal. I used a mohair that I got a while back in a yarn store here. And I used Sunday by Sadness Yarn. So I had 4 strands of yarn working with it. In general, the marble sweater is a very easy pattern, I would say. It's very beginner friendly. It's fast, it's rewarding because like you just quickly have a nice chunky sweater. That's not too chunky, but like I think it's the right amount of chunkiness. So it's like very rewarding. I think it's made on what, 9-10 millimeter needles. But I think it's a bit annoying to have that many yarns going because like they tangle up and stuff, you know. But overall, good sweater pattern. I have obviously made it again. I really thought my mom would look good in it, so that's why, you know. Would I do it again now? For myself, I wouldn't, because I think now that I have done more sweaters in my knitting career, I can say that I'm not the biggest fan of chunky knits. I like 4mm needles, 5mm needles. I think the stitches look very good using these needles. So I think I would recommend it though. I would recommend it to people who want to start knitting a sweater and stuff. But I wouldn't do it again. The next sweater I have finished is the Olga sweater by petiteknit. I made it in this pink and red. There is a theme going on. I am trying to make more colorful knits, as you can see. So I did this one in a cotton merino by Drops. I wanted to have like a summery knit that's a bit lighter because I started that at the end of April and I finished it in May, and I was like, I want something more light. It did change the drape of the garment. Like the arms are quite heavy, I feel like. It's not as drapey as hers, obviously. I still do like the way it feels and how it like sits on the body. I do enjoy that. I love the colorway. I love the neckline. I love how the sleeves look. I love how it's just like, it's such a good drop shoulder construction. It's so good. And knitting stripes is always kind of addicting, to be fair. So this went by quite fast too. It just, I love this. I really love this pattern. I love it so much that I cast it on a second one. But I did that in Drops Charisma because I wanted to have a more rustic one, because this is very like sleek, you know. I wanted it more, let's put it that way. I love how rustic yarns look. Wearing is something else, but I love how rustic yarns look. Yeah, I love how rustic yarns look. So that's why I thought I'm gonna make another one in a more rustic yarn. Drops Charisma is not rustic at all, but it looks a bit more sturdy. Do you get what I mean? It's like different than this one. Anyway, so I love this one so much that I cast it on another one, and I sized up half a needle size. So I did this one on 4mm needles as recommended, but the second Olga sweater that I started, which is still in that whip basket over there, The second one I did on, or I'm doing on 4.5mm needles. So yeah, would I recommend this pattern? 100%. Everybody should have a good striped sweater in their wardrobe, and this is so on theme of 2025. I love this one, and it's so easy to wear. You don't have to wear anything long sleeve underneath. You can just throw it over your shoulders during the summer and stuff. So it's like not that, like, it's not a knit where you have to think about what you're wearing underneath or if it's too hot or not. So yeah, I 100% recommend this. And I also would say I would recommend doing it in the yarn, because I think the Olga sweater is a more springy, summery knit to me. So that was the right choice. Moving on to the next pattern that I've done. It's the marble sweater. I have not woven in this end, so I know where the back is. So I have knitted this sweater with drops in Nepal, and I sized up the needle size to a 5.5mm needle. Hence, everything looks very big because the gauge is off. Do I mind? No. I never do gauge swatch, so what am I expecting? For this sweater, I then sized down. So this is an L, and I used 5mm needles. I actually started this sweater because I was craving a raglan construction. Before I casted this on, I did so many drop shoulder things. Like I did a top, I did the Olga sweater, I started another top. So I was like, I am craving a good old stockinette raglan sweater. So I took some yarn that I had in stash. It wasn't enough, so I had to order more, unfortunately. But I used some yarn from my stash. And I made this one in this lovely gray, dark grayish thing. What I don't like about this sweater is that the neckline turned out huge. It's humongous. If you wear it, it's like this big, and I'm not the biggest fan of that, but it's also a look. You know, I could put some elastic in. I wanted to put some elastic in, but now I kind of got used to the way it looks, so I'm fine with that. It is very boxy because the gauge is off. You can see it's very, like, the proportion is so off, but it's also a look, you know? So I don't mind. I've gotten used to the way the sweater looks, and I think the gray is such a great staple in a wardrobe, so I'm not mad at all. And also the yarn was the inspiration to make a zipper sweater light man for my stepdad. So it's a lovely gray. I would use that again. Maybe not for my wardrobe because I already have a dark gray sweater, but like, I do recommend the pattern, the yarn, maybe check your gauge. That's what I can say. And since I love this pattern so much because it was super easy to construct, it went by quite quickly, I did another one. This is the other one. I also made that one in drops Nepal. I did a few modifications with the needle sizes. So in general, I knitted that one on 5mm needles, but I used 4mm needles for the collar and 4.5mm needles for the ribbing of the sleeves, because in the beginning, I didn't like the color of the first Monday sweater. It was too big for my liking, so I thought, okay, I just sized down a needle size instead of half a needle size. This one is very good. I like this one, and I think if I would ever make another Monday sweater in that whole combination, I would do it the way I did here. Other than that, I think I made it a bit longer. It is still very boxy, but I don't mind. I love a boxy sweater. So yeah, what can I say to this one that's different to the one before? Would I make this sweater again? 100% yes. If you're craving a good raglan sweater that's easygoing, goes by fairly quickly, I would recommend this one. It's nice to have in different colors, I would say, because it's such a staple. It's so easy to style. I love wearing that with a white shirt underneath or a long sleeve. I've made this one specifically for my Scotland trip that I was recently on. And I thought it would look great in the Highlands, and for some reason I'm addicted to red this year. Like, I have so many things that I made this year that I've read or bought things that I've read, so that was very on theme for me this year. So a good red sweater, you know, you can also wear that for Christmas. I don't even have to make a Christmas sweater because I have a red one. But yeah, that's the second Monday sweater. As I've said, in the past 7 months, I have knitted 5 sweaters. I have casted on many other sweaters that I did not finish yet. But I finished 5 sweaters in 7 months, which is an okay rate, I would say. I usually knit 1 sweater a month if it's not summer. Taking into consideration that I had a little summer slump, I think. It's a good rate. I definitely have enough sweaters. I love knitting sweaters, even though currently I'm obsessed with accessories, but I think it's because the winter is coming, so I'm thinking about what I want to wear this fall / almost winter season rather than planning ahead. I'm not very good at that, so I'm very much knitting in the moment. But yeah, these were my sweaters that I've knit since April. All by petiteknit, because I am a sucker for petiteknit and I live by that. I hope this video inspired you a bit, maybe. If you were on the hunt for some inspiration, I hope I gave you some. I hope you enjoyed this video and I see you very soon. Bye bye.